How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, July 27th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Monday, July 26th, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that goes on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. With the NFL and NBA and even NHL and FIFA soccer out of season, I'm going to get started with the MLB, and yesterday was more of a travel day, so there were less games on the schedule. Starting off in New York, the Mets hosted the Atlanta Braves for a doubleheader. In the first matchup, the Braves would beat the Mets 2-0 on the road, as both of their runs came in the third and fourth innings. For the New York Mets in this matchup, the start and the loss was given to Marcus Stroman from my alma mater, Duke. He allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With this loss, he's 7-9 on the season. In the Mets batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, but for the Atlanta Braves, the start and the win went to Kyle Muller. He allowed no earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The save was given to Will Smith, who allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he picked up his 20th save of the year. For the Braves in their lineup, they had 2 players with more than 1 hit. Their elite first baseman, Freddie Freeman, would go 2 for 3, and their center fielder, Guillermo Heredia, would go 2 for 3 with a run. Going on to the second game in this doubleheader, the Mets would end up taking this one at home to split the doubleheaders series, as Jeff McNeil's double in the 5th inning would bring the only run home. For the Atlanta Braves in Game 2, the start went to Bryce Wilson. He allowed no earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The loss would go to the Braves' second relief pitcher, Luke Jackson. Luke Jackson would allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. With this loss, he's 1-2 on the season. In the Braves batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their third baseman, Austin Riley. And then for the New York Mets, the start was given to their starting pitcher for this game, Aaron Loup. Aaron Loup would go on to allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. The win for the Mets would go to their third relief pitcher, Trevor May. Trevor May allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch, and with this win, he's 3-2 on the season. The save went to Edwin Diaz, their closer. That was his 22nd save of the year, as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch and struck out all 3 of the batters he faced. In the Mets batting lineup, their second baseman, Jeff McNeil, went 2 for 3 with an RBI. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. With this win, the New York Mets are now 53-45. That is still the best record in the National League East, as they've won 6 of their last 10 games. They currently sit 3.5 games ahead of the second-place Philadelphia Phillies, as they are holding on to the 3 seed in the National League playoff picture. With this loss, the Atlanta Braves are now 49-51. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games, and they now currently trail the New York Mets by 5 games in the division, as they have played their 100th game. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies took on another NL East opponent, the Washington Nationals, and in this matchup, the Nationals were leading 5-3 going into the bottom of the 6th, but then the Philadelphia Phillies would win off of a 3-run home run from former National League MVP Andrew McCutchen. For the Washington Nationals in this matchup, the start went to Joe Ross. He allowed no earned runs and only 3 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss for the team would end up going to their closer, Brad Hand. He would allow 3 earned runs and 0.1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. This is his 5th blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's now 5-5. In the Nats batting lineup, their second baseman, Alcides Escobar, would go 2 for 5 with 2 runs. Their all-star shortstop, Trey Turner, would go 2 for 5, and then their catcher for the day, who in this matchup was Tres Barrera, would end up going 2 for 3 on the day. For the Philadelphia Phillies, however, the start went to Spencer Howard. Spencer Howard would allow 4 earned runs in 3.2 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win for the Philadelphia Phillies went to their closer on the day, who was Archie Bradley. Bradley would allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitch, and with this win, he's 5-1 on the season. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Gene Segura, would go 2 for 4 with a run. Their left fielder, Andrew McCutchen, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as he had his 18th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Didi Gregorius, would also go 2 for 4 on the day. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 50-49. That is the 2nd best record in the National League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 3.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 45-54, and that is the fourth best record in the National League East, as they've lost their last 5 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the New York Mets by 8.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Fenway, the Boston Red Sox hosted the Toronto Blue Jays, and in this matchup, they were able to pull up a 5-4 win at home. They were trailing 4-3 going into the bottom of the 8th until Alex Verdugo would hit a 2-run home run, which gave them the lead and eventually the win. For the Toronto Blue Jays in this matchup, the start was given to Thomas Hatch. Thomas Hatch would allow 3 earned runs and 3.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss would go to the Blue Jays' penultimate relief pitcher, Trevor Richards. Trevor Richards would allow 2 earned runs and 1.1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. This was his 3rd blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's 4-1. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, they had 2 players with more than 1 hit. Their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., would go 2-for-4 with an RBI. And then the Blue Jays catcher for the day, Reese McGuire, would end up going 2-for-4 with a run on the day. For the Boston Red Sox, however, the start went to Nick Pivetta. He allowed 4 earned runs and 4.2 innings pitched, striking out 3. The win went to the Red Sox second relief pitcher, Adam Ottavino. He allowed no earned runs and 1 inning pitched, and with this win, he's 3-3. And the save would go to Matt Barnes. He allowed no earned runs and 1 inning pitched. This was save number 22 of the year. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their third baseman, Rafael Devers, would go 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 27th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Hunter Renfroe, would go 2-for-3 with 2 runs. Their left fielder, Alex Verdugo, would go 2-for-4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 10th home run of the season. And then their first baseman, Frenchie Cordero, would end up going 2-for-4 on the day. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 62-39. That is the best record in the American League East, as they've won their last 2 games and won 7 of their last 10. They currently sit a game and a half ahead of the second-place Tampa Bay Rays, the defending American League champs, in their division. And at the moment, they are currently holding on to the best record in the American League at the moment and the second-best record in all of baseball. With this loss, however, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 49-47. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They now trail the Boston Red Sox by 10.5 games in the division, and they currently trail the Oakland Athletics by 4.5 games in the American League wildcard race, to give a sense of where the Blue Jays are. Jumping out to Chicago, the Chicago Cubs host the Cincinnati Reds, and the Cubs were able to get that home win, winning 6-5 in the bottom of the 9th. As they were trailing 5-3 going into the 7th, they scored a run in the 7th. They scored a run in the 8th off a Wilson Contreras solo home run to tie the game, and it will be a Javi Baez RBI single to give the Cubs the win, the walk-off win without a single out recorded in the bottom of the 9th. For the Cincinnati Reds in this matchup, the start was given to Wade Miley. He allowed 3 earned runs and 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The loss for the team went to the Cincinnati Reds penultimate relief pitcher, Heath Hembree. Heath Hembree would allow 1 earned run and 0.2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this loss, he's 2-5. In the Reds batting lineup, their second baseman, Jonathan India, would go 2-for-5 with a run. Their left fielder, Jesse Winker, would go 3-for-4 with a run as well. Not to mention their shortstop, Kyle Farmer, would end up going 2-for-3 with an RBI and a run. Farmer would hit his 9th home run of the season. For the Chicago Cubs, however, the start went to Kyle Hendricks. He allowed 5 earned runs and 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The win went to the Cubs' elite all-star closer for the day, Craig Kimbrell. He allowed no earned runs and 1 inning pitched as he struck out 3. With this win, he's 2-3 on the year. In the Cubs batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Chris Bryant, would go 2-for-4 with 2 runs. Their first baseman, Anthony Rizzo, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run, as Rizzo hit his 13th home run of the season. And then their shortstop, Nico Horner, would go 2-for-3 with an RBI. Also, their center fielder, Jake Marisnick, would go 2-for-3. With this win, the Chicago Cubs are now 50-51. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They've won their last 2 games and 5 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 8.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 51-49. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've lost their last 2 games and 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 7 games in the division, and they now trail the San Diego Padres by 6 games for the 2nd wildcard spot, as the Cincinnati Reds are the first team on the outside looking in. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Detroit Tigers, and this game will go to the 10th inning as the Minnesota Twins would win off of a walk-off single from Max Kepler. For the Detroit Tigers in this matchup, the start was given to Matt Manning. He allowed 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss for the team would end up going to their closer, who was an all-star, Gregory Soto. He allowed 1 run in 1.2 innings pitched, striking out 3. With this loss, he's 4-2 on the season. In the Tigers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. Their future Hall of Fame designated hitter, Miguel Cabrera, would go 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he had his 8th home run of the year. For the Minnesota Twins, the start was given to Michael Pineda. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The win for Minnesota would end up going to their closer, Caleb Thielbar. Thielbar would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's 3-0 on the year. In the Twins batting lineup, their third baseman, former American League MVP Josh Donaldson, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he had his 16th home run of the season. Their catcher, Mitch Garver, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. And then their first baseman, Miguel Sano, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 43-58. That is the worst record in the American League Central and the 3rd worst record in the American League. They've won 4 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 16.5 games in the division. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are now 47-55. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They have now lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They currently trail the Chicago White Sox by 13 games in the division. Jumping out to Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals took on their American League Central, the AL Central leaders right now. The White Sox and the Royals were able to pull off a 4-3 win at home. For the Chicago White Sox, the start and the loss went to former Cy Young winner Dallas Keuchel. He allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Keuchel is 7-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, their right fielder Nick Engel would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day. Or Adam Engel, I'm sorry. He was the only player on the White Sox with more than 1 hit. And for the Kansas City Royals, the start and the win went to Mike Minor. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With his win, he's 8-8 on the season. And the save was given to the Royals closer for the day, Scott Barlow. Scott Barlow would go on to allow 1 earned run in 2 innings pitched. And with this save, he now has 6 on the year. In the Royals batting lineup, their designated hitter, Jorge Soler, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Both of his hits were his 2nd and 13th home runs of the season. And their left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Benintendi would hit his 11th home run of the season. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are now 43-55. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They are currently on a 6-game winning streak, which is the best winning streak in the American League at the moment, and it is right now the best winning streak in all of the major leagues. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 15 games in the division. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are now 59-41. That is still the best record in the American League Central as they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They currently sit 8.5 games ahead of the second-place Cleveland Indians in the division, and right now they are holding on to the 3rd seed in the American League playoff picture at the moment. Jumping out to Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the Colorado Rockies for this interleague matchup. The Angels would win this game at home, scoring 4 of their 6 in the 7th and 8th innings. For the Colorado Rockies, the start and the loss went to German Marquez. He allowed 4 runs in 6.1 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this loss, he's 8-8 on the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their elite right fielder, Charlie Blackmon. He would go 2 for 4. For the Los Angeles Angels, however, the start and the win went to their all-star starting pitcher, Shohei Ohtani. He would allow 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Shohei Ohtani is 5-1. In their batting lineup, Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher would go 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Looking at the players that had more than 1 hit, their all-star first baseman, Jared Walsh, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI. Their shortstop, Jose Iglesias, would go 2 for 4 with a run. And then their catcher, Max Stassi, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day. With this win, the Los Angeles Angels are now 50-49. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've now won their last 3 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They currently trail the Houston Astros by 10 games in the division, and alongside the Cleveland Indians, they trail the Oakland Athletics for the 2nd wildcard spot by 5 games. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are now 43-57. That is currently the fourth best record in the National League West. They've lost their last 3 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. At the moment, they currently trail the San Francisco Giants by 19.5 games in the division, to give a sense of where the Rockies are. And last but not least, jumping out to Seattle as the Seattle Mariners hosted the Houston Astros. In this matchup, the Astros would beat the Mariners 11-8. The Mariners would beat the Astros 11-8 at home, as they were trailing 8-7 going into the bottom of the 8th. It would be a grand slam from Dylan Moore that put the Seattle Mariners up on top to, of course, win this game. For the Astros in this matchup, the start was, of course, given to Luis Garcia. Garcia would go on to allow 5 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 9. The loss, however, would go to the Astros' third relief pitcher on the day. In this matchup, it was Ryan Stanek. Ryan Stanek would allow 2 earned runs in 0.2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this loss, he's 1-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their left fielder Michael Brantley would go 3-for-4 with a run. Their shortstop Carlos Correa would go 2-for-5 with an RBI and 2 runs. And then last but not least, their catcher Martin Maldonado will go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 7th home run of the season. For the Seattle Mariners, however, the start was given to Darren McCoffin, and he would allow 7 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win for Seattle will go to their third relief pitcher on the day, Kendall Graveman. Kendall Graveman would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. And then the save would go to Paul Sewell. It would be his 4th save of the year as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched, striking out a batter. That would be his 4th save of the season. And in the Seattle Mariners batting lineup, their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, would go 3-for-4 with 2 runs. And then their second baseman, Shed Long Jr., would go 2-for-3 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 55-46. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They've won their last 4 games and 7 of their last 10. They currently trail the Houston Astros by 6 games in the division, and right now they trail the Oakland Athletics by 1 game for the 2nd American League wildcard spot. With this loss, the Houston Astros are now 61-40. That is still the best record in the American League West. They've lost 4 of their last 10 as they still sit 5 games ahead of the 2nd place Oakland Athletics in the division, and they are currently holding on to the 2nd seed in the American League playoff picture. So like I said, that is currently what baseball is looking like following yesterday's exhibitions. And then just quickly looking forward to what's going on today, because today isn't as much of a travel game. But you will see most of the teams playing today. Starting from the very top of the schedule, starting at 7:05, Spencer Watkins and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Sandy Alcantara and the Miami Marlins. Spencer Watkins comes into this matchup with a 2-0 record and a 1.65 ERA. Sandy Alcantara comes into this matchup for Miami with a 5-9 record and a 3.23 ERA. At the same time, at 7:05, Tyler Anderson and the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to host Brett Anderson and the Milwaukee Brewers. And then at the same time, Matt Moore and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Eric Fedde and the Washington Nationals. At 7:10, the New York Mets are going to host Charlie Morton and the Atlanta Braves. Charlie Morton comes into this matchup with a 9-3 record and a 3.65 ERA. At 7:10, the same time, Shane McClanahan and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Jordan Montgomery and the New York Yankees. Shane McClanahan takes the mound for Tampa Bay with a 4-3 record and a 3.88 ERA. Jordan Montgomery approaches the mound with a 3-5 record and a 3.96 ERA for the Yankees. At 7:10, same time, Cal Quantrill and the Cleveland Indians are going to host Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals. Quantrill comes into this matchup with a 2-2 record and a 3.84 ERA. Adam Wainwright comes into this matchup with a 7-6 record alongside a 3.56 ERA. At the same time, at 7:10, Garrett Richards and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Robbie Ray and the Toronto Blue Jays. Robbie Ray comes into this matchup with an 8-5 record and a 3.12 ERA. At 8:05, Dane Dunning and the Texas Rangers are going to host Taylor Widener and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Widener comes into this matchup with a 1-0 record and a 3.55 ERA. At the same time, at 8:05, Adbert Alzolay and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Vladimir Gutierrez and the Cincinnati Reds. At 8:10, Brad Keller and the Kansas City Royals are going to host Dylan Cease and the Chicago White Sox. At the same time, at 8:10, Kenta Maeda and the Minnesota Twins are going to host Tyler Alexander and the Detroit Tigers. At 9:38, Jose Suarez and the Los Angeles Angels are going to host Austin Gomber and the Colorado Rockies. Jose Suarez enters this matchup with a 4-3 record and a 2.85 ERA. Austin Gomber comes into this matchup with a 7-5 record and a 3.74 ERA. At 9:45 on ESPN+, Logan Webb and the San Francisco Giants are going to host Julio Urias and the defending World Series champs Los Angeles Dodgers. Logan Webb comes into this matchup with a 4-3 record and a 3.54 ERA. Julio Urias enters this matchup with a 12-3 record and a 3.63 ERA. At 10:10, Chris Flexen and the Seattle Mariners are going to host Lance McCullers Jr. and the Houston Astros. Chris Flexen enters this matchup with a 9-4 record and a 3.35 ERA. And Lance McCullers Jr. enters this matchup with a 7-2 record alongside a 3.04 ERA. At the same time, at 10:10, Chris Paddock and the San Diego Padres are going to host James Kaprielian in the Oakland Athletics. Kaprielian comes into this matchup with a 5-3 record and a 2.65 ERA. So that is what the MLB is looking like going into today. And then last but not least, taking a look at what's been going on in the third day of the Olympics, of course, because right now Tokyo is in the fourth day of Olympic competition, but since, of course, because of the time zone difference, I'm just going to go over what happened in the third day. Starting from the very top, in archery, South Korea was able to take the men's team gold in archery over Chinese Taipei. In men's canoe slalom, Benjamin Savsek of Slovenia would take the gold in that event. The gold medal for men's mountain bike cycling went to Thomas Pidcock of Great Britain. And the men's 10-meter springboard platform diving medal will go the gold medal will go to Great Britain as well, as they would stop China from sweeping all the diving events. In men's individual foil and fencing, the gold went to Ka Long Chung of Hong Kong. In women's individual saber, the gold went to Sofia Pozniakova of the Russian Olympic Committee. Sorry if I butchered the name on any of these. In judo, men's 63-kilogram gold medal went to Shohei Ono of Japan. Judo for women's 57-kilogram went to Nora Zhakova of Kosovo. The men's skeet shooting gold will go to Vincent Hancock of the United States. Women's skeet shooting went to Amber English of the United States. Women's street skateboarding would end up going to 13-year-old Momiji Nishiya of Japan, as she would take home the first medal ever in the Olympics. Swimming 100-meter men's breaststroke, the gold would end up going to Adam Peaty of Great Britain. Looking at the men's 4x100 freestyle relay in swimming, gold will go to the United States, as silver went to Italy and bronze went to Australia. Looking at the women's 100-meter butterfly, the gold will go to Margaret McNeil of Canada. The gold for the women's 400-meter freestyle in swimming went to Adrienne Titmus of Australia over Katie Ledecky of the United States. In table tennis mixed doubles, the gold medal will go to Japan, as they were able to beat China in the gold medal competition. In Taekwondo, men's 80 kilograms, the gold will go to Maxim Kromtkov of the Russian Olympic Committee. And the women's 67-kilogram Taekwondo gold medal will go to Mateja Jelic of Croatia. The men's triathlon gold medal will go to Christian Blumenfeld of Norway. The women's 55-kilogram weightlifting gold medal went to Hidilyn Diaz of the Philippines. And those are all the medals that came as of yesterday. And of course, going into soccer, I'm not going to get into soccer until the CONCACAF semifinals start on the 29th. But until then, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I want to thank the MLB, ESPN, and Olympic websites, as well as Bleacher Report, for giving me the facts and figures that I needed to do this episode. I want to thank everyone once again for listening to all 23 and a half minutes of this piece. Once again, today is Tuesday, July 27th. With the Elite, I'm James Sims. And once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, and elite performances, especially for the Olympics, I will come back tomorrow on Wednesday, July 28th, for another installment of the Elite. And until then, I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.